She had one job in that moment, not a job anyone had given her, and not one she could have ever prepared for. But when the walls began to shake and the floor shifted beneath her, she knew exactly what she had to do: protect her baby. It was Wednesday evening, June 24th, 2026. At 6:04 p.m., the ground began to move. At first, maybe it felt minor, just a passing tremor. But less than a minute later, it happened again. 2 powerful earthquakes struck back to back, giving people almost no time to understand the first before the second tore through the same region. In the port city north of Caracas, the damage was devastating. Apartment buildings that had stood for decades came down in seconds. Inside one of them was a young mother and her little girl. The child was just over a year old, still small enough to be carried. She couldn't understand what was happening around her, but her mother understood. In the middle of that terror, while everything familiar became dust and noise, that mother moved toward her child. She covered the baby with her own body. She curled around her little girl and used herself as the shield. And then the building fell. Afterward, there was only rubble, broken concrete, twisted metal, dust thick enough to choke on, the sounds of people calling names into places where homes used to be. Rescue workers, volunteers, neighbors all came. There wasn't enough equipment, time, or help for the amount of destruction in front of them, but they dug anyway. Some used tools, others used their hands. They moved pieces of concrete one by one, stopping every so often to listen for the smallest sound that might mean someone was still alive. Somewhere beneath all of it was a mother and her child. Hours passed. Then rescuers found something that stopped them cold. A woman's body was positioned over a baby girl. The mother had not moved. She had not let go, and the baby was alive. Imagine that silence. Not the silence of nothing happening, but the silence of people realizing what they had found. This little girl had survived because someone else had become the shield. Her mother had taken the force of the collapse. She had used the last seconds of her life not to search for an exit, but to make one small space safe enough for her daughter to keep breathing. The child's father was not there. He was abroad when the earthquakes hit. His work had taken him away from home, the way work sometimes does. So when his world collapsed, he learned about it from a distance. He could not reach into the rubble. He could not hold his wife's hand. He could not lift the concrete away from his daughter. All he could do was wait for news that would divide his life into before and after. Later, he wrote the kind of words no parent should ever have to write. How was he supposed to tell his daughter that her mother was gone? How do you explain to a child who survived because of the very person she would now have to live without? Someday, he said, he would tell her. He would tell her that her mother never left her side. He would tell her that when the whole world came down, her mother stayed. He would tell her that she was brave, that she was their hero, and that she gave everything. That is the part of this story that stays with you. Because what happened in that collapsed apartment was not only a decision made in seconds, it was a decision built over time. It was built in every sleepless night, every bottle, every fever, and every moment that mother had already chosen her child. When the ground moved, her body already knew what love meant. Move closer, cover her, hold on, don't let go. The little girl will grow up with a story no child should have to carry. But she will also grow up with proof. Proof that she was loved before she could remember it. Proof that love can become stronger than fear. And proof that sometimes, in the very worst second of someone's life, they can still give someone else a future. The mother's name was Andrea. Her daughter's name is Alana. And Alana's father is Venezuelan footballer Hector Bello. Andrea did not survive the earthquake, but in the only way that mattered to her in that final moment, she won. Thanks for listening to Twist of Fate Radio. I'm Angela Clark. Curious how fate works? Find more twists and share your own at twistoffateradio.com.